couple comments on the Cincinnati game. Obviously, last week, coming off the tough loss, we needed to get back to work and get out there and play and come together as a team, which I think that's the one thing that probably made the biggest difference in being able to win the game or not being able to win the game is everybody just kind of coming together and making sure that we supported each other on all three sides of the ball and supported the teammates to the point to where we put ourselves in a position to be able to win the game. Cincinnati's a good football team, and they were fired up and they were ready to go. There's a reason they were 7-1. Their effort's been good all year. They're well coached. They got some good quality players, and that they have been the ones that have found ways to win all year. They've been in a bunch of close games and they've figured out ways to win. So the fact that we were in that game, it was tight, which we knew it was going to be a hard-fought game, and for us to be able to figure out a way to win is something I was really proud of the guys. So, needed to win and then come back. This will be an off week. We'll treat it relatively similar to the previous one we were in. Hopefully the outcome will not be the same. We'll talk about that a lot this week, but guys need to be students, and they need to make sure that they're doing everything they can to catch up on schoolwork. This is kind of the time of the year that it's getting close to the end, so they don't want to wait till mid-December to try to get themselves caught up to the point to where they're doing what they need to be doing in the classroom. So they'll do a lot of academic stuff this week. They will, we'll play a lot of the young guys this week. We'll try to get as healthy as we possibly can. We'll do recruiting, which, there's the challenges of recruiting is something that we could talk about for hours and hours. But, try to get in some good recruiting and then get back here, probably give them a day off here and there and then get back to work on Saturday getting ready for the Pitt game. Take some questions.
You made a lot of mistakes Saturday, but you won in spite of it. Would you say that you were more lucky than good?
Yeah, why not? You make mistakes in every game. There hasn't been a game that I've never been involved in that you don't make mistakes. You make mistakes, and some of the mistakes were glaring, and some of the mistakes that we make are hidden, to where people don't really see them. But mistakes happen, and one of the themes, Mickey, that I've been talking about is when bad stuff happens, don't quit, which I've seen guys quit, and we've had a tendency at times when things went wrong, we had specific people or units or whatever quit, and the fact that that's finally sinking in with them to the point to where just keep playing, figure out a way to win at the end is the sign of a good team. Not that we're there yet. I know we're not, and it takes some time before we get it exactly the way we want it, but we did get one step better.
Has it gone this year, the introduction of a new coach and new system and all that, the way you expected it to, or was it slower, say, than it was at the other two places?
We're offensively slower. Going back to this is more like it was at Texas Tech in 2000 than it was when I went to Houston or went to Oklahoma State, where the philosophies offensively at Houston and at Oklahoma State were similar. There were guys that were used to doing things that we wanted them to do, and had the personnel to where we could handle that. We're not there offensively. From a which I don't. It doesn't matter. It goes back to where Texas Tech, where we're changing a lot of philosophies and changing the way things were done from a lot of things standpoint wise. And the biggest thing is finding out a way to win. And I've said it a bunch. I don't care where we're at offensively. It's about what we got to do to win. And we're not happy with the 3 losses, but it's better than 4. So we'll keep trying to get better and keep trying to figure out how we put our guys in position to win, which is ultimately the only thing that matters. Things will get easier and easier the longer we're here.
Would you? Last week, apparently, from what I read in the paper, Pitt changed and slowed down what they were doing to try and eliminate mistakes and things like that. Would you have you had to make concessions along that line, whether not necessarily slow down, but to try to change things a little bit.
Slow down what?
Instead of snapping the ball every 15 seconds, they said they were snapping it every 25 seconds to give guys a chance. I mean,
Yeah, well, we did that, you know, and we haven't tempoed hardly ever. I mean, I've changed a lot of how we call plays and how fast we call them, and there's times where, you know, we'll try to, you know, fastball it and catch people off guard, and I know Coach Graham's doing the same stuff offensively, came in with the same philosophy as far as what he's done for the last 3 years and what he's trying to put in. And again, he's dealing with the same thing that I am, as far as it just being so much different than what it's been used to, you know. So I don't know. I didn't know that he had done that. I really paid a whole lot of attention to it. I know what his philosophy is and what his schemes are, but we'll learn more about how they do it here in the next few weeks. But yeah, I've changed quite a bit, you know, and what the play calling is and how fast it gets done and the amount of plays that we're running and all that stuff's been different than what I've been used to.
Are you sort of surprised that Bailey has been so productive?
It hasn't surprised me. His consistency was one thing that I questioned coming into the year. You know, you could tell that he had the ability to make plays and be a good player. You know, last year he was, you know, very spotty as far as that, but you know, in camp he was pretty consistent. But until you do it throughout the course of the season, you can't really tell. So I've been happy with his consistency, and we'll get him a year better, and he should be even more consistent and more dynamic next year.
Daniel, with regard to your changes in the plays, is it more simple? Are you just getting rid of things that have been troublesome? What specifically, I mean, as much detail as you want to give, I'm sure you don't want to tip it, but I mean, is it getting rid of stuff? Is it just slimming it down? How does that go?
Yeah, slimming it down, just doing things that we can handle. You know, you know, the amount of plays that we go into a game with is relatively the same, you know, but at the rate of how fast we're calling it, you know, and how challenging the things are. I mean, it comes down to being able to block people up front and quarterback being able to make accurate reads and running the ball with numbers, you know, which probably the biggest discouraging thing that I dealt with last Saturday was we had numbers to run the ball and we couldn't do it, which that changes a whole lot of things that I do offensively.
What about the tempo? Why have you had to sort of dial that back? Is it just guys aren't used to that? Like you mentioned that in preseason, even that you were having to sort of yell at guys to run up to the line of scrimmage.
You know, it comes down to being, you know, moving the ball. If you're moving the ball at a good rate, then you can do it a little faster. If you're not, then you better be careful with it. Which, you know, trying to at times keep our defense off the field a little bit. I mean, that's something that's obviously always going to be on your mind. You know, but just it's always been, if you're feeling good about what you're calling, if you're moving the ball, if you're getting first downs, then it's easier to do it. But if you're not feeling as good about it, then it makes it hard to push the envelope on it. That really hasn't changed in the last 10 years, you know, for us.
Do you like having 2 weeks to prepare for a rivalry game like this, or is this something where you have any concern about overworking these guys or getting them thinking about this game too much?
That can happen. That can definitely happen. Which, you know, the hard. I think we have a pretty good plan. We've done it the same way for 10 years, and it's been relatively successful. And then, you know, come here and do it the way we did it 4 weeks ago, and we go to Syracuse and get blown out. So it made me rethink some things. You know, we talked about it and what can we do different, what can we change. And from a scheduling standpoint, we couldn't come up with anything. You know, so. You know, we'd do it the same way. We'd just try to approach, you know, what we got to do to get our guys ready to play a little differently, which I assume that will take care of itself due to the fact that it's, you know, it's the backyard brawl. It's 7 o'clock at night. It's in Morgantown. I would think that would take care of it, as opposed to playing a road game and, you know, playing Syracuse. I don't know. You know, obviously we weren't ready to play that game, which I take full responsibility for that. You know, we'll do things relatively the same, and hopefully, you know, they'll be ready to go. I would think they would be. I would be.
What did you end up doing before that game in Syracuse? Because if I remember, you kind of feeling your way out, and late in the week you decide what you would do that day. This is going to be another night game. You're home home, it's a little bit different, but is that part of, I mean, that long day before you kick off, is that part of the things you look at?
It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, which we've had more noon games than we have night games, obviously, but, you know, your opponent has to do the same thing, right? They show up at the stadium at the same time, you know, so, I mean, we can sit here and dissect that stuff all you want to, but, you know, everybody's been playing football for a long time, and everybody's got scheduling things for a long time, and they research ways of doing things better, and you know, but ultimately it gets back to scheming things up, having guys that are able to make plays, putting your guys in position to make plays, and being ready to play.
With a week off, could you give us an idea, injury-wise, who will benefit from this among you guys, or if there was anything new to come out of Cincinnati?
There wasn't anything new. We've had about 4 concussions, you know, over the last couple of weeks, which, you know, concussions, and I'm not gonna talk about specifics because they can be bad or not so bad, and who knows what the difference is. I certainly don't know. You say one guy's got a bad head injury and one guy's got a moderate head injury. Well, the guy that's got a bad head injury may end up coming back quicker based on time over the guy that has a moderate head injury. So I don't understand all that stuff. So it just takes time. So due to the fact that we have a week off, you know, we'll give those guys time to clear their head and be ready to go.